Hello everyone, my name is Vajna Sonavde. In this video, I'm going to talk about how to program AudioCodes MP124 with Cisco Webex calling. Alright, so this is in this picture you can see the front panel of AudioCodes MP124. This is a 24-port analog gateway from AudioCodes, and on the next picture you will see the rear panel of this device. So there's a power connector, power supply for AudioCodes MP124, 24-port connector, RS-232 for console configuration, and the Ethernet cable to connect to your LAN network. Okay, so I have this device on my desk, and it is already powered on. I have my RS-232 console cable connected, and also the LAN cable. For the configuration of this device, it is very important to refer some important documents. One of the document is Cisco's formal document about AudioCodes MP124E, and in this document it specifically highlights which two models are supported with Webex calling. Alright, so those two are highlighted here. Also, it is important to note that these AudioCodes devices, or the MP124, is supported only with the 6.60, 340 and above versions. Okay, so make sure that your AudioCodes has this version or the later one. Alright, along with this firmware version, there are two more files that are included in this document. The other one is manual configuration doc, and the second one is MP124 Webex calling INI file. Okay, so the link for these documents is below here, so you can click on this here option, and it will download a zip file. I have downloaded that zip file and extracted. So basically this zip file contains the firmware version that is required for AudioCodes MP124, the manual configuration document. This document doesn't have that much information, but it is important to refer to this document as well. And we also need, as mentioned in this document, we also need this INI file, and that INI file is included in one of these files, the zip files. So depending on your country, extract the file from the zip file. So for me it is US, so I have extracted that zip file, and the INI file is included here. All right, so going back to the document, as I said, we need firmware file, manual configuration doc, and INI file. Okay, so let's go to the manual configuration document. Okay, so I have already opened that document. So this document basically talks about the initial configuration, and it is important to note that for this device to work with Webex calling, it needs to be in DHCP mode. So that is what it talks about. So the steps 1 up to 10, it talks about how to set up this device in DHCP and how you can get the new IP address of this device. In my case, what I did is I have connected the LAN cable on the network, and by default this device comes in a DHCP mode. So as soon as you connect the device on the network, it will get the IP address, and to find out what IP address it has received, you can connect to the serial port using the console cable. So let me open my console CLI. Okay, all right, so the CLI of MP124 is totally it's totally different for me, not like Cisco ISR router CLI. But there are some commands that are really important. So along with these Cisco documents, that is this one which I highlighted earlier, and the PDF. I also recommend to refer to the user manual of MP124 analog gateway. Right, in this document there are commands that are very helpful. So one of the command that is helpful is to find out what IP address this device has received. So it is show ipconf. So this command shows me what IP address it has received. Okay, right, so using this IP address I can log in to this device. Okay, so I already have this open here. The default username and password for this device is admin with A capital, and password as admin with A capital. So if this is a new device that you took out from the box, I would recommend to take the backup of default config file, that is the INI file. So go to the maintenance software update and configuration file. So click on save INI file. All right. Okay, so the file is saved in my downloads folder. Let me open that file and show you what it includes. Right. So basically this file has default configurations. This file is important if you want to restore the device back to its factory default using INI file, and these steps for restoring the device back to factory default is mentioned in this user manual. So that is why I was saying it is very important to follow this document as well. Okay, so I already took the backup of INI file. Okay, now as per Cisco document, once you have access to the web browser, okay, the next step is to use a default INI file provided by Cisco. So this file is under the folder that we extracted, and depending on the MP model, upload that file to your device. So in my case it is MP124. So let me go back to device. It's under maintenance, software, update, load auxiliary files. Select this INI file incremental, browse. Okay, it's on my desktop. Codes and MP124 DMS flash INI. Click load. So once the file is loaded, the device will reboot automatically. And here is the thing, once this Cisco provided INI file is uploaded and the device is rebooted, you will no longer have access to web browser. Everything needs to be done through the CLI, and basically you don't need to do anything in the CLI. You're just going to monitor what's happening at the CLI level. Okay, because most of configuration now done through Webex Control Hub. But here, as you can see, the device is rebooting and it's showing the MAC address and IP address. So at this step, just go ahead and take a note of this MAC address, because we need this MAC address to program in the Control Hub. I'm able to pick the device, but I'm not able to access it through the web browser. So as I said, the device, you won't be able to access the device once it communicates with Webex calling. Okay, so you should be able to see IP through the console. Okay, now next step is to configure this device in Webex Control Hub. So on this AudioCodes device, you can start or stop the logs through the console. So the command for that is show log start. Okay, it will start showing you all the logs, and to disable it, it is show log stop. It will stop the logging on your console cable. So this is very helpful, because once this device starts registering with Control Hub, you will see a lot of console logs coming through. Okay, so let's log into the Webex Control Hub and configure this device. Now we are going to configure this device under the workspace, so let's go ahead and manually do it, and I'll show you how to do it using the bat file too. Okay, so let's go ahead and add workspace. Now normally we name the workspace as, like, for example, lobby phone or conference room, but in this case this is a analog device, and on this analog device mostly we connect it as a fax machine or a paging system device. So say for example this is my finance fax. Okay, I'll name it as a finance fax, device type as other, select location as Ashburn, click next. So from the device type I'm gonna choose this middle one, which is analog adapter ports. Okay, select device as AudioCodes MP124 and the MAC address. So you can find out the MAC address using show ipconf command. Okay, it will show you MAC address, IP address as well. So convert. So when the MAC address is displayed, it shows dash, but we need the MAC address without dash or with the dotted line, dotted format, right? So let's go ahead and enter this MAC address here. Okay, set this here. Okay. Next, now assign numbers. So we need to assign telephone numbers to this fax machine. I don't have any like DID, but I'm going to assign, for example, 1011 as the extension number for this fax machine. Click save. Okay, now my AudioCodes device is added and my workspace is created. Few things to remember here. The AudioCodes device gets associated with the primary line. The remaining lines needs to be configured as share line or ports on this AudioCodes device. So what I mean by that is, so we have this first workspace that is finance fact line created. Under this you can see the AudioCodes device. When I click on it, it goes to the devices and AudioCodes device. Now if you see on the right hand side, okay, under device management, the first port is the first line or the first workspace that we created along with this device. Okay, the remaining lines you can configure under configure ports. So if I want to change the device, okay, I won't be, oh, sorry, if I want to delete the first line on this device, I won't be able to do that because it says primary line cannot be deleted. I can add remaining lines on this device, but primary line stays as it is. Now if you want to assign a different primary line to this device, then basically you need to delete the device and add it back with the different space name or workspace name. Okay, so remember to assign a correct first line on this device, and not just the first line, because you have to remember that which port is configured on the other side of, like, analog block that is on the wall. Okay, so make sure that matches with what extensions you are programming on these ports here. Okay, one more thing to remember is this AudioCodes MP124 supports only 17 lines, even though it is a 24 port analog device. Out of 24, only 17 are supported. Okay, so how to configure remaining lines on this device? Okay, so if you go to the second line, there is no option to, like, manually add this second fax line or paging line on this device. So in order to add a second line or the remaining lines, first of all you need to create those lines as workspace or as a user. Only workspace or users are configured on this AudioCodes device. Okay, so to do that, let me go back to the workspace. Okay, and add workspace, second workspace. For example, in this case, I'm going to add HR fax. Select other, hash burn, next. Now here we are not going to select any device because we want this space to be associated with existing AudioCodes device. Okay, so click no device, next. If you have Webex calling, select Webex calling, because for fax definitely you need a Webex calling. Click next. All right, then select your location, phone number, and in this case I'm going to assign extension 1012. Okay, save. Now as you can see here, the finance fax has the device associated as AudioCodes, but for HR fax there is no device because we selected no. Right, so we'll go back to the devices, select this AudioCodes device, and then go to the configure ports. Okay, select second line and HR fax. All right, click save. All right, now I have this second line programmed on this AudioCodes device. So right now none of the line is registered, it shows unregistered. But before we proceed with the troubleshooting or the registration of these lines, few things I want to highlight here is go back to the go back to the workspace, and under this finance fax, go to the calling. So there are some settings that you need to update under these workspaces. So first one is a primary line. Make sure if you want to assign a DID number, you can click on the primary line, and if there is a DID number available, you can choose that DID number. Caller ID. Now caller ID, you can select the number assigned to the workspace location, or you can use the DID number. And here the caller ID, first name and last name. So when you create a workspace, it automatically uses the workspace name as first name, and the last name is basically dot. So if you want to update that, you can do that here in the caller ID section. Next one is emergency calling number. So if you are using this analog line for inbound and outbound calls, make sure you assign a workspace location number or the DID number of this device, because if you don't have emergency location number program or emergency callback number associated with this line, then you won't be able to make inbound or outbound calls. Okay. Under the call handling, outbound call permissions. So this is where if you have a Cisco calling plan, you can choose Cisco calling plan under this outbound calling section, call permission section. And the last one important is the call experience. By default, Cisco Webex calling uses a normal compression format. So for analog lines, it is recommended to use the uncompressed one, for example, fax lines and paging systems. Okay, so go ahead and select this uncompressed format. Okay, so these are some of the settings that you need to update under this workspace. Okay, I'll go ahead and do the same setting for HR fax. All right, under calling. Okay, primary line, I don't have DID. Caller ID, I'll keep it as it is. Okay, and outgoing permissions, I don't have Cisco calling plan, but under call experience, I'm going to update this uncompressed format. Okay, now we configure two workspaces. Okay, finance fax, HR fax, but with this naming convention, it is very difficult to identify where this line or where the space is assigned, workspace is assigned on this device. Okay, so when I was doing for one of the customer, I was configuring around 4 analog gateways, 4 of these devices. uh, I wasn't able to figure out where this line is programmed on which device. Okay, whether it's gateway 1 or gateway 2 or gateway 3. So I came up with the naming convention, and I just want to highlight you about that here. So if you have, let's say for example, if you have 4 analog gateways or 4 of these devices, okay, then I would recommend to name the workspace with so for example, in my case, what I did is I used analog, KANA, gateway 1, okay, and port 1 on that device, right? I'll save it. I will save it, okay. So once I update this naming convention, it automatically updates the caller ID. So I'll go back and update the caller ID to what I want, okay. Click save, go back, HR fax, click edit, analog, gateway 1, port 02, right? Click save. Okay, go to the caller ID, update the caller ID name, click save. Now, as you can see here, from here it looks clear that, okay, so HR fax is connected on my gateway 1, port number 2, and if I go to devices, you'll see that here, okay, analog gateway 1 port 0, 01 port 02. And when you have multiple lines or workspaces created with this naming convention, it is very easy to add this. It is very easy to see them here and add against those ports. All right, so this is using the manual process. Okay, this is basically creating these workspaces manually. So how do I go ahead and create workspaces with empty device in a bulk? Now, there is no way to configure workspaces without device, okay, in a bulk. So in order to configure these workspaces, we have to assign a device. We can't assign this audio code device as well. So here is what I have come up with, the workaround. So in this CSV file that you normally use, maybe for configuration of IP phones, okay, so this is the file. So what I have done is I have these usernames, basically workspace names. Here I will update. Okay, we don't need this one here. Okay, because I already have second port configured. So here I have port number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These are the workspaces. These are the names for those workspaces. Okay, these are basically, I'm using it for paging system. Okay, type as workspace, extension number, device type, model. So this model number and MAC address is just for temporary, because we need to configure these workspaces in a bulk. But as I said, this, you cannot configure these workspaces in a bulk without the device association. So I'm just using this bulk this dummy model number and MAC address for these devices. Okay, so once I have this file ready, I can go back to the control hub, devices, add devices, and here multiple IP phones, select multiple IP phones using CSV file. Next, choose file, going to use that AudioCodes demo file. Okay, select, you can use this provide link option, click submit. as you can see, it has added one line. Let's wait for it to complete all the lines. Okay, so all the lines are now added. All right, so I can see the workspace is created here with this 6871 phone model, but we don't need the 6871 phone model. So I'll go back to the devices, select all the lines, okay, all the devices that I don't want, that is 6871, and click delete. So when you click on delete, it's asking you whether you want to delete the empty workspaces. So we want the empty workspaces, so don't check this checkbox. Okay, click delete. All right, so the devices are now deleted, but if I go to the workspace, I already have those workspaces here, empty workspaces. Now in the workspaces that you have created, go to the workspace, select the workspace, basically go to the calling, update all the settings that you need, and then go to the devices, click audio codes device, select manage. All right, so ANA, type ANA, and it will show you the remaining devices. Okay, it's fine. I'm gonna just add this port number 3, port number 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, once this is added, click save. Okay, so some of the things to highlight here as well. As I said, my first two lines are fax machines, so go to the configure ports, customize behavior, and choose the first two lines as T.38 for fax compression. There may be some lines which requires hotline, so in this case, for example, I need 585 line for hotline, so I'll select hotline, and as soon as I lift the handset on this 585 extension, it will ring on, say for example, 7000. All right, click save. Okay, so once this is done, now what we have to do here is to go to the device and reset it. To reset the device, you can use SAR command, which is save and reset. And here you can see register messages that are sent to Webex calling. If I pause it after some time, so I'll show you the exact register messages. But as you can see here on the console, these are a lot of messages, so I can go ahead and show log stop, so that way it will stop all the logs on this console. Now if I go back a little bit, so here you can see register messages, so register message sent to the Webex calling host. All right, and if I look back in the control hub, so let me refresh this, so go back to the device. All right, you can see the registration as registered. One thing to notice here is if I go back to the devices, it will show me only one device because we have only one device, and it shows it belongs to this finance fax, which is the first line, primary line on this device. Also, the status of this device shows unavailable. I don't know the reason why it shows unavailable even though the ports are registered. That is something I might have to check with Cisco TAC or Cisco team. But here you'll see only one device belonging to the primary line of this device. Okay, but under workspaces, you will be able to see all the lines or the workspaces that you program, but there is no association. It's not shown against that device. These are just empty workspaces, but assigned to the second to like line 17 of this audio code device. So this is it on the Webex control hub. Is That's what we need to do. So on the device, make sure that you assign the lines under this configure port section, and also make sure that you update the customized behavior depending on whether it's a fax machine or whether it's a hotline, so that you can update it here. All right, and any changes that you make under configure ports here, okay, add, remove, okay, and once you save it, make sure to come back and do apply changes. Once you do the apply changes here, okay, the device is going to reboot automatically. Let me show you some of the things on this device. So there is a command called config get. That config get command will show you the updated configuration on this device. Okay, so let the device boot up. Okay, I'm going to stop the logs, show logs, stop. Hopefully it gives me the chance to enter that command. Uh, all right, finally I was able to stop the logs. Okay, so if I do show, sorry, not show, it's a conf get. Okay, conf gd. It's basically cf get. Okay, so if I enter this command now, you can see the updated configuration on this gateway. So let me go back up a little bit. Okay, so earlier we had very little configuration on this device, but now you can see uh, configuration related to the Webex calling hosts. Okay, then configuration related to the analog lines that we have programmed. So these are the first 7 lines, 6 lines, yeah, 7 lines that we have programmed here, and actual extensions you'll be able to see down here. So these were the names, these were the names I have assigned, and these were the extensions here. So that's it. So this is how you configure AudioCodes MP124 with Webex calling. I hope you enjoy the video. Thank you.